We have had already a huge adventure, and we don't have much to show for it, unfortunately. But we'll walk through where we're at the moment, and then what it has taken so far to get here. And I'll tell you, this model, if you watch the different builds on YouTube, there are as many different ways to do this model from the lighting perspective and paint as there are YouTube channels, it seems like. So all of the favorites have done one. So Boyd Compton, of the marvelous work he does at TrekWorks, and Lou at Aztec Dummy, to Demco Model Works, Simon Merckx. I mean, on and on and on. Everybody's done a version of this JJ Enterprise, and not to mention other just excellent builds from HDA Model Works and some of those things. So the deeper I got into this, the deeper I got, and it really has caused a lot of fun. However, at the same time, it sure has slowed up the process from where we started to where we are right now. And quite honestly, I was out at a trade show for 2 weeks, and so I lost a good solid 2 weeks of modeling. Now we're back, and we should have an opportunity to do things a little bit quicker and a little bit faster. And we'll walk through all the different purchases that I've made for this $60 kit. Suddenly is turning into a $250 kit, even without a lighting kit for the Bussards and so forth. So with that, let's get to it a little bit. Let's see what we've done so far, and I'll talk about some of the challenges. Obviously, I've had a few challenges too that I'm still not pleased with, but we'll take it as far as we can go. So I think the first thing we want to talk about is the photo etch kit and the work that's taken place there. This is the Paragraphics kit that I purchased, and essentially what you're seeing here is the voids. Here is the void for the shuttle bay. Here's the void for the impulse engines. Here's the voids, all these rings here for the Bussard collectors. Then there's a couple of other pieces here. I did not use the refit version of the impulse engines. I'll show you the impulse engines in the Model S it's primed. And I haven't used all the little tiny shuttles here for a reason. So as I mentioned in an earlier video, I thought what a shame that there isn't a better or isn't a decal kit for this Paragraphics shuttle bay. Did a little more research, and lo and behold, Jerry at HDA Model Works provides a decal kit, laser printed decal kit for the shuttle bay. And I had already bent the shuttle bay up once and kind of put it together and folded it together. Excuse me. And so I ordered another, while I was on Jerry's website, HDA Model Works, I ordered another photo etch kit. Not paying particular attention, I ordered the green strawberry photo etch kit. And essentially that came in good order. Jerry shipped the stuff right away. But what comes with this is a slightly different size. In a lot of these different things. So the shuttle bay is a little bit different size from this one. The impulse kit is a little bit different size. Here's the rings. So I didn't build those. I will probably, and I didn't use the Bussard collectors because I already have those done. And here's kind of a quick overview. That has been painted gray, and that's ready to go into the Bussard collector there for that one, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But I used the Paragraphics versions, and I wasn't about to bend all these up again. Some of the things I will use out of this kit, I will use the deflector dish. That's really nice. I will use the docking ports here, and maybe a couple other pieces, like I'm not sure exactly. I think that goes to the Bussard collectors. Both of those do. And I won't use these side pieces. I already have those in place. So I'm not going to use a lot of this Paragraphics stuff, which is unfortunate because, of course, that's expensive. So then it came to what I did is I took and popped my joints here on the shuttle bay that I had built, and then I went to do the shuttle bay here with the water slide decals. And all the instructions in Jerry's kit say that this is a water slide decal. But I don't know what happened here with this particular set, because there is no sliding with this. I soaked them, I used a little drop of soap, or soaked them, and then used a little couple of drops of dishwashing soap. None of this was breaking loose. None of this actually came loose. Same thing with the bridge assembly. That's been completed and put together, but essentially I could not get these to water slide. They would not slide, so what I ended up doing was actually just gluing these down with some canopy glue, and because most of it's going to be hidden, it's going to be fine, but I was pretty disappointed with that it didn't work. What did come with the green strawberry kit, and enough about the decals, like I said, I just had to glue them down rather than to water slide decal those. And Jerry's water slide decals don't work on the size of shuttle bay that you get from green strawberry. So there you have it. That's the other side of that. So what does come with the kit are 2 sets of these resin shuttles for in the shuttle bay, and so I'll trim these. I'll paint them first, paint them white with a little bit of red. They're so tiny, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on them, but they're kind of cute. They'll go into the shuttle bay, and that'll make it look a little more lifelike inside of there as this gets put together. So that is the shuttle bay, and it's been put together, and so then I moved on to the nacelles. And essentially with what you've got with the nacelles is you have this glass work that gets glued in here, and quite honestly, from the Revell directions, I wasn't sure which way to go, but they do look nice. Using canopy glue, they're all nice and clear, so that's going to come out really nice looking. I did paint this bottom piece here. I went ahead and painted that gray for those inlets underneath the vents, underneath the Bussard collectors. Same gray I'm going to use on the accent color on the paint for the hull, secondary hull, and the nacelles actually. And then I also, in the nacelles, these are the outer portions of the nacelles, so they would sit outbound. Here are 2 little SMDs that'll shine down onto the exterior of the pylons. And then I do have a light glued in here. I've got a little SMD glued in here for the blinking light on the back of the nacelle. So that will be in there. So we're still working on that nacelle. That's the starboard side, or port side. On the starboard side, which is this right here, I went ahead and I actually laid in the light for that. And I'm going to light it up before I take it apart and show you what I did. But essentially there's going to be 2 circuits inside that nacelle, one for the warp core and warp engines, and one for the blinking anti-collision light. I'm not going to put a green or red nav lights in these because I didn't see that in any of the documentation or any of the screen captures that I saw. So if you can see this coming up on the screen, really nice blue light, especially all across the bottom of that. And of course we'll seal this up. It's still open. And then the front and the top of it, I did not buy a rotating Bussard collectors. I just decided to build my own, and so I kind of had maybe a stroke of luck in my ignorance. And what does it say? God favors the drunks and the crazies. Well, that's where we're at. Maybe drunk and crazy, but essentially what I did is I brought in this circuit here, and it comes to this blue LED strip tape here. So I bring it in, and then off the blue LED strip tape down to the next line of blue LED strip tape, and then off of that I came forward to the Bussard collectors. And the Bussard collector has got 4 LEDs in it. And what I did, the 4 on top, and that's going to be these 4 here, 4 on top, or I'm sorry, the 3 on top are just standard 3mm blue lights. And then the one below is a red, green, blue fast flash blinker. And what you're seeing there is that it is, you can see it cycling through its blinking mode, and it blinks with red and it blinks with the other pieces. But since I've tied this in off of the resistor that comes in off of the LED strip tape, I don't have to put any resistors on those 4 bulbs. It blinks away just fine. In addition, for some reason, and I don't know why, maybe because they're all tied together, I've got all the hots tied together with this blinking and all the negatives tied together with this blinking light, and then I've got clear, the clear heat shrink tube over that. For some reason, that has made those 3 blues blink at the same blink rate and pulse with the same blink rate as this one, but they're not changing colors. So that whole Bussard is going to be blue mostly, with a little bit of red, green, blue. You can see it blinking there, red, green, blue at the bottom. And I know it's not Canon, and I know it's supposed to be solid blue, but I didn't have a blue blinker for that. And by the time I got it in and it started blinking, I thought, you know what? I think that's going to look fantastic, and I was pleased with the result. So so that's the Bussard as it sits. What I haven't tied in yet is this white circuit here. You can see that there's the M&D lights, so I've got to bring those out and bring them down through the nacelle pylon, and then I'll have to attach wires to that, so I haven't wired that up yet, but that's next. And that's essentially how I'm going to do the pylons. Also in the pylons, and they're actually gluing in the other room, are 2 of these panels here that actually get glass panels. And what I did, and you'll see it after bid, is I painted the backside of them a zinc green with a light coat, and then used vinyl tape to tape off 4 stripes on each one of these, and then painted the rest of it a deep, deep dark blue, not a black, a blue. And you'll see them when they're done. They're getting the clear coat in the other room drying. So what you're going to see only in there is that you'll have 4, I guess they go this direction, they'll have 4 teal green or teal stripes, and it makes us see what this blue light does coming through that green. It may give us even a different tint as it sits. So that nacelle is about 85% of the way done. I got to glue those in, and they're going to be tough because this end fits in and then this end warps up, so you're going to have to glue this in first, probably with like canopy glue or something a little stronger. Let it sit and let it sit and cure, and then you're going to have to put the other half of the backside in, glue it, clamp it, and let it cure rather than doing the whole thing. So that's going to be a challenge when it comes to that. So that is the nacelles and kind of how they're coming together. Now let's talk. And so one of the things that we're doing is that we are working on the front of the secondary hull. Here's going to be the back of the deflector dish, and what I intend to do is actually drill through here, and once I'm drilled through there, that'll have blue light that'll come in from the hull. And I have to figure out that lighting. I haven't done so yet. These have been gouged out. They'll get photo etch over the top, and then that fits in there. So there's the other Bussard collector. Here is the taped off front of the other Bussard collector. That's been painted with the hull color, and the inside was frosted. So that's got a frost on the inside, and then it's got the hull on the outside. Also started working on putting in the bottom blinker, the anti-collision light on the bottom of the hull. Haven't had much progress on the hull itself. We'll get to that. On the bottom of the primary hull, we've made a lot of progress here with the lighting on this piece, and we'll see what this looks like when it lights up. Yeah, lots and lots of light. So essentially what you've got when you flip this over, we've got our navigation lights, green, red, and soft white, not bright white, soft white at the front. These 4 lights you're seeing here are SMDs that are actually external, and I'll have to tape over them or use liquid mask when it goes to paint it, but they're external to this kit. So when they're off, I'm not sure if you can see it, but when they're off, it's actually just a little tiny SMD that's right there. And it's like an 0402 SMD, but it makes for a nice spotlight as it comes down on that secondary hull. And also we talked about the photo etch on the Impulse engines. So what I built is this little light box right here. Those are a couple of red 3 Miller LEDs in there, and that actually just fits right in like that. And those bulbs will light up, and then what I'm going to do is I'll just put some fiberfill in there. I'll put some fiberfill between this box here and that Impulse engine, and that should glow red nicely without having, hopefully without having hot spots, as I learned to do. So that's the lower hull, and then this lighting in here is designed to light up the bridge from the underside. And with this lighting here, what you get is a nice window approach, and I've got a set of SMDs or LED strip tape in front of each of those windows. I'm going to crystal clear these windows. I'm not going to put the kits in them. That's too much of a pain in the neck to tape off and mask off. But I am going to use the crystal clear and put windows in after the fact. And those LEDs turned out fantastic. The other thing that we're working on, going through the list. Here is the upper hull, and when I said that there's a ton of different lights in this thing, there just is. And so what you've got from the front side is, and after looking at the movies and following some screen caps and actually a couple of GIFs that are out there that move and animate, and you can slow them down, what I discovered is that there's 4 lights that are spotlights that will go on the registry right there. There's also 5 lights that blink. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So those nav lights are not, the red and green nav lights are not in this 90 degree angle off of the bridge. They're actually red and green in the film, are here and here, and then you have white, white, blink, blink, white, white, blink, and those 5 lights are the anti-collision lights on the top. Now what I also did, because I went a little overboard, there's a blue light here where the crystal will go for the Impulse engine, crystal, and so that will light up a nice blue, just like you see on the other blue, so that'll light up around there. And then what I added, just because I could, I'm going to do a mini stove hat LED, just like that, a little mini stove hat LED right there. You probably can't see it, but it's a tiny little LED bent up. And so what I did on the back side here is that I cut out the hull where it goes against that piece right there. I cut that out. I added a white and a white SMD, and then the red and the green will actually just pop right into that hole right there after it's wired. And hopefully what I'm going to have is a really nice red anti-nav light, or navigation light, that I'll put as a blink rate. And I will use a blink rate for the green and red and the white and the red and green here. I'm going to use a 1 second on, 1 second off blink rate for the navigation lights. And then these 5, and actually I have 7 because I went for overkill. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Those 7 will be on that double blink rate. So that is the lighting in the hull, and there's enough lighting coming in through that center that I don't need more lighting coming into that bridge section. There's not a lot of light there. And probably the one thing I haven't done, but after watching so many other builds, is I'm probably going to do a couple of drill holes here and here, and one there and there, because there seems to be lights that go out to there. So, as I said, every time I looked at this, there were more lights that I was missing on this JJ Prize, and so we're going to try to make it as more correct than what it was. The other item that I purchased online from Lou Dalmaso's Aztec Dummy is the painting mask for these, and so far I've been really pleased with what I've seen. I haven't used them yet, so that's why I'm pleased with where we're at. I did create my own on the nacelle. I was having a little difficulty with that stretch, and even Lou says in his how-to video that the nacelle is probably the biggest challenge. But I'm going to look forward to doing these insets right here as we go through. And then the other thing that I purchased, if my masking is a total, utter, and complete failure, from Cameron's Model Works, and I don't know if he's got a listing here on his documents or not, but that might be something, Cameron, you might want to do. Here's the instructions. Not a lot of them, but they're there. Here's the instructions for a full set of Aztec decals from Cameron's Models, or Cameron's Decals. They are not die cut, and they are not they're 100% coated. Looks like these are the sensor bands that go all the way around, short sensor bands, and then that's the nacelles on the side. There's some additional decals here, so we'll just kind of go through those real quick. Yeah, here's for the blue Strongback. Here's for underneath, I believe it is. I think that's the under portion of it. Looks like this is the bridge. Here's for the top of that. This is the top for the impulse engine grill around there. Here's definitely for the neck, and then here's some of those other round pieces. So that's that. Looks like we've got a little different color blue for the pylons, and then you've got your first actual nacelles. Now these are a bit greenish, or maybe grayish. My eyes are kind of terrible, but these are a bit grayish for those holes. But I got them separated by wax paper or parchment paper, maybe wax paper it looks like, and they are laser cut or laser printed. You can see they're laser printed, and they are they're nice quality paper. I hope that, unlike the ones I just dealt with from HDA Model Works, that we're going to see a kind of a different, hopefully a different approach there, right? That they'll actually water slide on the water slide, and we will go from there. So again, like I said, this turned from a $70 kit to probably easily $250 or so by the time you get all the photo etch and got all of the decals, the paint mask, and what you see before you is an absolute atrocious mess at the moment. However, I am pretty excited about continuing on this. I'm really excited the way that blue in the nacelle turned out. I think that when that lights up, I'm going to be thrilled with the way that lights up, quite honestly. And from there, we will see. We will see how our adventure moves us along at this point. So here we are, the 13th of September, Friday the 13th, and finishing up the first half of, I think we'll just call this a full complete update number 3, just because of timing. And what we'll do is put this out there, and really look forward to your comments, because I'm tackling this one piece at a time, and it's tackling me for most of this. But have some working hours to work on this weekend, and as that comes together, maybe first of next week we'll see a little more progress, and some of the stuff actually start to come together. I'd like to get all the lights in, get it all wired up and soldered up, and running out to at least through a hole in the bottom of the secondary hull. So if I can move to that, my plan is stage this. The 2 nacelles will be wired, then I'll wire the saucer and close it up, and then I'll wire the central piece and then there's the secondary hull, and then once that's all wired up, then we can proceed to close it up. And then I'll work on this in 3 parts. I'll work on this with the nacelles, I'll work on this with the secondary hull, and then the primary hull for the paint job, and all the work that's going to go on with that. So with that, thank you for watching, thank you for subscribing. This kit, like I said, every time I looked at it online, looked at other people's builds, it changed, and with that, it just took extra time that I didn't have to start with, but we're making progress now, and I appreciate you sticking with me. In the meantime, I hope you go out and enjoy building a model. This one has been just a sheer absolute joy, quite honestly, because of all the different pieces that are starting to come together, and some of the things that we're learning. Definitely going to be the Aztec paint job is going to be an interesting learn, and then the using Lou's mask for some of these windows and so forth. Especially like this window right here. There's actually a little window that goes around the back side of that that is going to just be a pain in the neck to tape off. But Lou's got a mask and a solution for that, so we're going to use that piece of it. Until then, happy modeling, and we'll talk to you soon. Thank you.